Land of the free and the home of the brave.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Monsignor Martin High School football, streaming live on the New Era Field network of social media channels and on onebuffalo.com. I'm Chris Brown, along with former Lancaster High School athletic director and longtime football coach Len Jankowicz, here to call tonight's game between the Bishop Timon St. Jude Tigers and the Cardinal O'Hara Hawks. The Hawks come in with a record of 3-2, coming off a convincing win over St. Mary's last week. Head coach Shaquille Dudley, Len, has some talent on his roster.
Yeah, you know what? There's two different teams at two different stages of development right now. I think Coach Shaquille has a team that has been around for 3 years, and more maturation in his squad versus what Joe Licata has right now.
Yeah, let's go downstairs as they're just about ready for the coin toss here, as the captains for each team get introduced to one another.
Gentlemen, before we start, Mr. Argentieri is the umpire today. Mr. Dorfline is going to be the head linesman. Mr. Scanzuzzo is going to be the line judge, and Mr. Huber is going to be the back judge. Mr. Scanzuzzo will take care of the clock. If we have a problem correcting it, don't you worry. We will correct it and say, we'll notify each captain. Captain, we have corrected the clock. You guys concentrate on playing football. You're the visiting team. That is a head and a tail. You have the right to call a toss. What's your pleasure?
Tails.
Tails is the call. Tails is the coin. Kick received, defender defer. Timon wins a toss. Defer second half. O'Hara takes the football. Which way you want to kick it? Which way you want to kick it? Well, you want your back to this goal? Put your back to the goal you want to defend. I'll go with the team that won on a deferment. Going in this direction. Gentlemen, play good, fair, and hard. May the best team win. Good luck to you all.
All right, so Timon wins the toss and chooses to defer. So O'Hara will receive. But first, the Tigers, Len, still in rebuilding mode as they're winless on the season. But head coach Joe Licata clearly has a plan and is building this program the right way.
You know, Chris went to practice this week, and how about this? 21 kids from South Buffalo are on that Timon Tiger team, and only 7 are seniors. So you talked about the stages of development, Chris. You know, maybe Joe was maybe a year, maybe a couple of years behind Coach Dudley in terms of development, but a lot of hometown pride going on there, and it'll show tonight. So I expect both teams to put their best foot forward today. And even though, Chris, the Timon Tigers haven't won yet, they're going to be a gaming team tonight.
And if there is one common thread between these two teams, it's that both run the no-huddle offense, spread attacks, high-tempo type of game. And Coach, I'll let you get into that once we get one team on the offensive side of the ball, which should be Cardinal O'Hara here as they are going to receive. And deep to return are Jermaine Haynes and Brandon Broadnax, but it's a squib kick, and it's fallen upon at the 41-yard line, so a great drive start here. And you know what, Coach, this is something we saw last week, too. Teams avoiding the primary return men and giving up field position.
Yeah, I know it. They're almost giving up, almost half the field because of that squib kick. I'm sure it's not an onside kick to begin the football game, and just a lot of respect for the back return men that O'Hara possesses.
So out comes the Cardinal O'Hara Hawks offense as C.J. Masters, a quarterback. We'll get to the starters in just a minute. Masters stands in the shotgun. In the backfield with him is Jamal Lewis. He gets the handoff and right up the gut for about 6 yards, up over the 45-yard line.
Yeah, typical zone play. Coach Dudley wants to start with a run game offense. Not a bad way to start, 2nd and 5, Chris.
Offensive line for O'Hara, left to right, Ramir Velasquez, Zach Randall, Andrew Murphy, Stephen Boyd, and Nigel Williams. The primary receivers, Jermaine Haynes and Matthew Buckley. Jamal Lewis and Brandon Broadnax in the backfield, and there's another inside handoff, and right up the middle, and going for first down yardage and more is Broadnax. Brandon Broadnax, the leading scorer on this team from a rushing touchdown perspective, has 8 on the season. And it's a first down here for the Hawks. Masters in the shotgun, another inside handoff as they're going to go with what's working here early. And another 9 or 10 yards. This time for Lewis, I believe, on the carry. Yeah, Jamal Lewis Jr. on the carry. Got just up to the stick, but not quite enough for a first down. But they are in business here, Coach, early.
Yeah, and they're really attacking Timon at their strength. Their defensive linemen and really at the core of their defense, Chris. Kind of surprised to see 3 running plays opening up with, as you mentioned, a spread offense team. But here we go.
Masters again in the shotgun here as we are just underway. About 10 minutes left in this first quarter. No score between Cardinal O'Hara and Timon. And there's a pass out to the left. It's picked off. First pass of the game goes for an INT, and coming up with the football is Woodrow Corker, the cornerback.
Chris, just a little out ball that was overthrown, and Woodrow was just in the right place. What a turnaround here for the Tigers.
Might have been a miscommunication too, because it looked like Masters was throwing the short out and the receiver was still running straight up the field on a go.
I think Joe Licata likes to start in that game this way, I tell you.
I didn't even get the starting defense called out for Timon, and they're already off the field.
Here we go.
So out comes the Timon offense on the turnover, 1st and 10 from their own 33. Quarterback is Mitchell Thiel. We'll get to the starters in a second. Here's the snap, dropping back to pass on 1st and 10, goes over the middle, pulled in for a first down and more. And who else? It's Jake Blighty, the leading receiver for the Tigers.
Chris, Jake Blighty is a guy that you're going to depend on all night long, a senior receiver, a leader of the football team. What a great catch, one of those one-handed things, a la, Kelvin Benjamin type.
Offensive line for Timon, left to right, Connor Dean, Luke McMahon, C.J. Varela, Todd Perkovich, and Alex Reinhardt. Thiel, as we mentioned, the quarterback. Primary receivers are Jake Blighty, Sullivan Odell, and Trey Jenkins. The running backs, Makari Bennett, Brandon Laurie, and Paul Humphrey. Here's another toss down the left sideline. Pulled in by Blighty for another big gain. Timon going to the air early.
The quarterback can call a lot of plays at the line of scrimmage, and maybe saw a matchup that he liked. It was a little underthrown, but pulled in nevertheless. What a great opening drive by the Tigers.
Masters back in the shotgun here, 1st and 10 from the Cardinal O'Hara 30. Takes the snap, inside handoff, nothing doing there as O'Hara plugs that up. We'll talk about the Cardinal O'Hara defense here. Defensive line is Justin Hemphill, Stephen Boyd, Nigel Williams, and Marty Latko. The linebackers, Jamal Lewis, Ramir Velasquez, and Andrew Murphy. Corners are Matthew Buckley and Jermaine Haynes. The safeties, Brandon Broadnax and Quantrell Moss. 2nd and long here for Timon as they're in their first long down and distance situation of the game. 8:23 and counting in this opening quarter, no score. Back to pass, looking to the right, has a completion out to that side. As pulling it in is Trey Jenkins for about a 6-yard pickup.
Yeah, a pretty clean pocket. In the play before, Stephen Boyd, one of the better defensive linemen in Western New York, made his presence felt by some penetration. But, Chris, there's been a fairly clean pocket for the quarterback to throw in right now, which is kind of a plus for Timon if they can do this in the spread offense look.
Blighty out to the left, Jenkins out to the right, the wide spread receivers. Masters or Thiel back to pass and through the hands. And incomplete, Sullivan Odell, the intended receiver. So that's going to bring up 4th down. And I think we're in go-for-it mode here. The Tigers actually have an interesting situation, not a good one. Their kicker currently is injured.
Yes.
Ryan Magel. So in all instances where they're in Cardinal O'Hara territory, they'll probably be going for it here tonight. So it's 4th and 6. Masters in the shotgun, back to pass rush coming, and just missed. Blighty on a crossing pattern over the middle, incomplete, throw is a little behind it.
Yeah, a little double slant route on the outside. He threw to the first gentleman, but the backup receiver would have been open. But nevertheless, a pretty good start for the Tigers. And Mitchell Thiel is quite a quarterback. 6'4", 180 pounds. Chris has command and one of the brighter kids in that whole school, so you can tell that he can check off at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, Coach Licata was saying he's picking up the offense well, and he, on occasion, will give him an opportunity to call a play or change a play at the line. Here's another handoff as O'Hara goes back to the ground, and coming to the near sideline is Broadnax. Gets some yardage before he steps out of bounds. Got about 7 or 8 on that carry.
You know, Chris mentioned Nigel Williams prior to the football game. Here's a 310, 6'4" kid on the edge with Stephen Boyd. I think I'd like to run right on that side of the line, too. A pretty formidable right side of the line for the Hawks.
Broadnax averaging 7 yards per carry, and he was true to his average on that play, as it is 2nd and 3. Masters takes the snap, fakes. Oh, he does give the handoff. It goes to Lewis, who's going to run around the left side, has the corner, first down yardage and more as he's out to midfield.
So here's just a little zone play that he just bounced to the outside. Last time it went up the middle, but he had fortune just to bounce it outside there for a big gain. The running game is really coming to the forefront for the Hawks.
Yeah. Quickly, the starting defense for Timon: Connor Dean, Todd Perkovich, C.J. Varela, and Alex Reinhardt up front. Alex Hill, Malachi Charleston, and Makari Inabin at the linebackers. Sullivan, Odell, Woodrow Corker, who had the pick, are the corners, and the safeties are Trey Jenkins and Jake Blighty. So we have a delay here on the field as I think they're trying to reset the clock. Problem is the official, I don't think, effectively turned his microphone on.
Yeah, there's not as many assistants as there are in an NFL game on Sunday to make sure that happens.
So it's 1st and 10 right at midfield. And they've got the clock reset. The refs wanted it at 7:45. It had gone running. It wasn't stopped after the first down. So they've got it squared away now. Another inside handoff. And coming to the right side here is Broadnax, but he's dropped after a 3-yard gain.
Yeah, great play on the outside. There. Yep, great play on the outside, but just corner starts making plays like that, we'll be in pretty good shape. Sullivan, Odell.
Well, you're going to need that. If they're going to keep running to the edges, you need corners that can give you run support, and Odell did that there.
I think a name like Sullivan Odell belongs in South Buffalo, huh? Nice.
It's hard to get much more Irish than that. Masters in the shotgun here on 2nd and 6. Takes the snap and hands it off again. This time Jamal Lewis running straight ahead, but Connor Dean's got him by the shirt tail and drags him down short of the first down marker. And I know you're really high on these two defensive ends for Timon, Dean and Reinhardt.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why O'Hara's running as much as they are, because there's some 2 good pass rushers here for the Tigers.
Connor Dean took on Stephen Boyd, one of the best offensive linemen, and still made the play, Chris.
So we got 3rd and 2 for O'Hara. Lewis is bottled up, and he's going to get dropped. It's going to bring up 4th down. As the Tigers were ready for that, Alex Hill in on the tackle, as well as Malachi Charleston, the 2 linebackers, first on the scene.
Big play by the defense, and expecting a punt, but don't be so sure, because the explosiveness of O'Hara could mean something a little bit different than 4th down.
Loss of 2 on the play, which brings up 4th and 4, but it looks like Coach Dudley's going for it here. Could be a field position swing if they don't get it. Back to pass, deep down the right sideline, going to fall incomplete. Intended receiver there was Quantrell Moss. So another turnover on downs here, Coach, as neither team can get into the red zone of the opponent's side of the field.
No, like you mentioned before, Chris, right at the start of the game, I mean, field position is dictated by opening kickoff, and really the play has been inside the 30s for most of the game, and if the ball was driven further down, who knows what field position Timon would have had in that interception. Anyway, if the nuts were candy and nuts, right?
Yeah. So Mitchell Thiel and the Tigers will take over at their own 44. This isn't too far from where they started when they got the interception on Cardinal O'Hara's first possession. The give is to Laurie over the right side, but nothing doing there as he is stopped 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage for a loss.
Yeah, Stephen Boyd made his presence known again, just an inside slant and penetrated to the point where he just tackled the ball carrier in the backfield, Chris.
Boyd listed at 6'3", 290.
Oof.
And once that's going in one direction, you're going to be really hard-pressed to send it in a different one. So 2nd and 12 here from their own 42. And back to pass is Thiel, looking deep down the middle on a post and can't quite reach intended receiver Sullivan Odell as it's just over his outstretched arm.
Great little play call. You know, you don't like to get above the safeties, Chris. As Coach McDermott would say, if you get over the safeties, that's not good for the home team here. So I think again, probably look for that a little bit later on in the football game. It's just
he got the separation. He got behind the defense.
Yeah.
Just couldn't connect on the timing there. And we see the cards that are being flashed on the Timon sideline. You know, Coach Licata said, we do it all. We signal in from the sideline. We have cards and everything. I wonder if they have some entertaining stuff over there. That's half the fun, you know, seeing the stuff they come up with to stick on these cards and everything they mean. It's hilarious. Quick little pass out to the right side on a wide receiver screen, but only about a couple of yards there as Trey Jenkins doesn't get much on the play.
You know, Brandon Broadnax, the outside linebacker, just great recovery speed here. Just made a play on the outside receiver on that wide receiver screen.
Now here's something you're not going to see very often. As we mentioned, the kicking situation, there's some injuries for Timon. Kicking is offensive lineman Luke McMahon, 6'2", 280 for your punter. How about that, Coach?
Probably not a fake in his mind here, but you never know.
Here's the snap, and kick is away, but not a lot of wood on it. As it trickles back to the original line of scrimmage. And, you know, that's a tough row to hoe. You got to give McMahon credit for even saying, yeah, Coach, whatever you need me to do.
Yeah.
But as we mentioned, their punter, Ryan Magel, is injured, which, you know, you think about it. We were here last week with Canisius and St. Joe's. They had an injured kicker, too, in Vandenberg.
Yeah, high schools don't benefit from a waiver wire, Chris.
Right.
They can't pick up a punter off waivers.
Get some kid from the soccer team out here.
Yeah.
So O'Hara takes over at the 45. Give is to Broadnax, and dragging him back is Reinhardt, saying, you're going nowhere, pal.
Chris Connor-Dean, Alex Reinhardt, two of the best defensive ends you'll see in high school football. And I think I mentioned to you prior to the cast here is that Reinhardt's only a junior. Going to come back next year.
Reinhardt 6'5", 265. He's got that defensive end build, huh? Nice and long.
Yeah. And a nice temperament, too. I saw his practice attitude. It's pretty good.
So 2nd and 11 as they have Broadnax on a 1-yard loss. Masters back to pass, looking deep down the right sideline for Jermaine Haynes. Climbs the ladder but can't quite come up with it. Breaking it up on defense is Trey Jenkins, the safety.
Great play by Trey. Just right at the end of that throw. Head was back, Chris, as we mentioned. That's key for defensive backs, so the interference isn't called, and you know, got in the way of the throwing lane and made a pretty good pass breakup there.
Jermaine Haynes is their go-get-it target. He's got 9 receiving touchdowns on the season in just 5 games. There's a blitz, and they beat the blitz as Masters gets it off to Jamal Lewis, who is deep into Timon territory, down to the 20-yard line. Masters takes a licking and keeps on ticking as he beats the blitz.
Oh, great play call here. Credit the staff for calling that screen play. And Brandon does the rest, Chris. You're right. What a great penetrating play. There's a little play there that kind of turns, flips the field for the Hawks here. Now let's see what they can do inside the red zone.
That play went for about 30 yards. Give is to Broadnax inside, fumbles the football, it's loose on the carpet. And coming up with it is Timon, another turnover for the Hawks.
Wow.
Jumping on the ball, who else? Reinhardt.
Yep, around the play.
I don't even know if there was contact there, Coach.
No, I think he just
bounced it off his knee.
Yeah, he just made that play up the middle. He's got great speed and elusiveness here, but maybe just in the midst, maybe somebody got their hand on things. We don't have benefit of the replay here, but nevertheless, Chris, the bottom line is the Tigers are still in this football game.
2 takeaways in the first quarter here.
Right, and that's big for them. You know what? In the anatomy of an upset, that's number one. Make sure something positive is happening in the first quarter, and guess what? It is for Timon.
So we got just over 2 minutes left in this opening quarter. Timon has the ball back again. Pass out to the right side is complete, and trying to fight for extra yardage there is Odell, but not a lot there. Gain of about 3 on the pass play there. And we might have an encroachment here by the defense. As jumping the gun there was Marty Lacko, the defensive end.
Dead ball. Encroachment. Defense number 5. 5-yard penalty.
So it was a free 5 for Timon.
Yeah, if I can do a plea to the officiating crew here too, it's just to make that, if he got back without alternating play at all, that should be a no call, just like the college and pro games. Really cost teams inadvertently. But who am I? All I'm doing is calling the game. I'm not coaching anymore.
Yeah.
But that would be a great little change of rules for the high school game.
So it's 2nd and short now for Timon here. Odell the motion man. Thiel back to pass. Quick inside throw here to Blighty, but nothing doing there. Is ready to make the tackle was Lewis.
Yeah, pretty good read for the outside linebacker.
We see the cards on the sideline. A Superman, a Batman, a Skittles sign. What is that? Iron Man? They got a lot of superheroes over there, I tell you.
Skittles might mean a run, you think?
Yeah, for Marshawn Lynch,
Right,
that's his
right.
candy, right? His power pellets. Field going to the right side, complete as Trey Jenkins has it for a short gain. Is that enough for the first down?
I think it is, Chris, which is good. Yep.
Yeah, these first down, so a new set of downs here with 1:20 and counting left in this opening quarter. No score between Timon and O'Hara. As the play cards change again. Oh, a 4-leaf clover. Well, that's appropriate. I think that's Hobart, North Carolina. We got a bunch of colleges. Loyola of Maryland. Look at this. This is entertaining.
Plus, they have 2 signal callers. Determine which one is giving them the right-hand signals, Chris.
Field under a blitz there. Batted at the line of scrimmage. Almost intercepted. Stephen Boyd could smell a touchdown.
And boy, they had it set up pretty well with Connor Dean coming up to block the defensive end, and good hand in the right place caused that to be incomplete.
Now we got Disney characters. We got Donkey from Shrek. We got an emoji. got a little geography in
Reset
there.
the game clock
Pictures of time
to
and a
1:56, please.
Chris, those signs probably mean nothing.
Well, one might mean something. One might mean nothing. One of those 8 things could mean something, right?
The 2 gentlemen with
Maybe.
the red hats are probably signaling things in those cards. Only for O'Hara.
I wonder who gets tasked with putting those cards together each week. Probably the freshmen, right? Here's a blitz off the corner, but Thiel gets the pass away. Jenkins almost catches it on his back, but it falls incomplete.
Yeah, a great little no call there because the ball was contested for, and Jenkins just got his feet entangled with the defender. Great no call by the official right there.
So that'll bring up 3rd and 10 here, and it looks like, oh yeah, they'll have time to get this off. There's still 1:39 left after the stop of the clock. More fun on the sidelines. Oh, the on fire emoji. Let's get going with that. Oh, look, they got playing cards. Do kids today even know what playing cards look like? I don't know. Kids still play euchre, right?
Probably play it on their phone.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Solitaire. Field back to pass, looking over the middle, a lot of traffic there, and another pass breakup. This time, it's Ramir Velasquez, the middle linebacker.
Yeah, quarterback saw a read here that he liked. He wanted to come inside, but the inside pursuit thwarted that one.
So we're going to have a punt here, and we'll give McMahon another bite at the apple.
Jamel Lewis, great inside linebacker, tipped that one, Chris. Coach Dudley loves him. He's all over the field, plays both ways. He's a foundation building block for the Hawks.
There's the snap. Kick is away. This one's got a little more distance. Let's see if he gets the right bounce. No. Bounces back towards his own end zone, but it's covered up. Down there. So not much on the kick, but
no, I know. You put a lot of pressure on your defense, certainly when the kicking game's not working the way it should, and you certainly can't blame the young man for attempting to do it, but that's really a lot of yardage surrendered, Chris. You'd like to flip the field, certainly,
right.
You know, with a punt, but...
you almost wonder if you should go for it, you know, if you're only going to get 5 to 8 yards on a kick.
Yeah.
Go for it. You maybe got a better chance of getting a first down. So the Hawks have it deep in time and territory. I think the play was blown dead there.
Yeah, they were setting up a wide receiver screen here, but they had
Timeout.
some movement. Oh,
Defense.
Timeout, okay.
So Timon called the timeout. As we've got 1:27 left in the first quarter.
Well, Chris, what do you think about the way this game kind of has gone here, Chris? You know, I talked about the anatomy of an upset, and certainly I'm not saying that, you know, Timon is the underdog here, but certainly they haven't won, so I guess you would call them an underdog here. But, you know, things are going right for the Tigers now. The anatomy of an upset, I've always thought, is this. Number one is that you got to have something positive happen in the first quarter.
Right.
Well, you know what? 2 turnovers are pretty significant, especially the way they happen here. And the second thing, too, if you can keep it close, getting into halftime.
Yeah.
Now the kids are gaining confidence, and then you're putting a little doubt in the opposing team. And the last thing I always told kids is that when fourth quarter comes around, put the pedal to the metal. Do everything you can and make yourself history. You know what? And Joe is kind of doing that with the Tigers now in the first quarter. He's staying close, and positive things are happening. Who knows?
Yeah. So we still have 1:27 left in this opening quarter. And no score on the board, but the Hawks could threaten here as they got 1st and 10 at the Timon 30-yard line. Masters back to pass, going to throw it underneath to Jermaine Haynes, right up the gut for the touchdown, 30 yards.
The old tunnel screen did it to him.
Personal foul, roughing in the passer.
Great throw by
Number 44
Masters,
defense.
and you're right. Just great job by the offensive lineman getting in front of that outside receiver. And that's the explosiveness of the Hawks on full display.
And for Jermaine Haynes, his 10th receiving touchdown of the season in just his 6th game this year. So on here for the extra point.
Personal foul,
Is
roughing of the passer, number 44 defense. That penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
So on to kick the extra point is the kicker Zion Fields, a 5'8", 140-pound sophomore. Or no, they're going to go for 2. I beg your pardon. Going for 2 here. As Masters is in the shotgun, looking to his right, throws it up, and it is intercepted as it will go as a failed conversion. So with 1:18 left in the opening quarter, it is O'Hara 6 and Timon nothing.
There's a flag down here, Chris.
Personal foul.
There's a personal
Offense,
foul.
number 70.
So that will probably be assessed on the kickoff. As Brandon Broadnax is cited for the infraction.
You know, Chris, one observation, too, about
Personal foul, offense, 70.
the
That's
last
been
play
refused.
call. the hash marks are tighter, which means there's essentially no short field, no wide field, and really those wide receiver screens, there's an awful lot of territory to protect for a high school team. And credit Coach Dudley for taking advantage of that with, you put athletes in space, difficult to cover, and when you have two essential open side fields, you can do that wide receiver screen to either side, and it gives the offense a credible advantage, and the defense, conversely, a disadvantage.
So the Hawks will get ready to kick off here. Zion Fields to do the honors. And deep to return will be Jake Blighty and Sullivan Odell for Timon. As the Tigers will look to get something going here on offense, try to even the score.
Well, discredit their defense, 2 turnovers and nothing to show for it, and maybe the kicking game nullify that a little bit, Chris, but Timon showed that they can move the football. They'll have to do it now to answer that drive that the Hawks put on. This might hurt a little bit, and even a short kick will be a long kick now with this penalty.
Yeah, they're kicking from Timon's side of the field.
Yeah.
Wow, I've never seen that.
Yeah. The hidden yardage that never shows up on the score sheet shows up on Monday when they have to when they have to run for it after practice.
Pops it up and drops it at the 5-yard line. Odell with the ball, gets around the right corner, but in pursuit and bringing him down for a tackle there is Steven Barbera. Good pursuit tackle there by the special teamer.
Yeah, great coverage by the Hawks there, and Sullivan Odell, our South Buffalo resident receiver, returner, does it all for the Tigers, and did a great job there. Just couldn't get to the edge.
So we've seen, to this point, Coach, more throwing than running here by Timon. We'll see if that continues as they go spread, fake the handoff, quick wide receiver screen out to the right, but nothing doing for Odell there. As Jermaine Haynes is quick on the scene to make the tackle.
Broadnax, the outside back, just is incredibly quick, come off his block, and it nullified the wide receiver play there. Coach Dudley warned me about Brandon, how good of an athlete he is, and he's really showing up early part of this football game for the Hawks.
Timon going with a jumbo package here. And direct snap to Alex Reinhardt, who comes around the left side for some positive yardage. The right tackle gets in the backfield and gets the carry.
Chris, what did you mention? 6'4", 260 coming around the edge?
Yeah, 6'5".
Oh,
Look at that. I saw a different lineman in there that was 75 who came in and played the left tackle there. Connor
There are two
Roberts,
fouls on the offense.
the junior.
Holding 77.
He came to play
Holding
left tackle.
55.
Reinhardt comes in the backfield. Unfortunately, it's coming back on holding here.
talk about a jumbo package, huh, Chris? That's super
That's
jumbo.
about as jumbo as you get.
Good for him if he's
Holding
that kind of athlete.
from this point will be refused. The holding will be enforced from the most advantageous flag.
So it is going to be second and a country mile here for Timon as they're pinned back on their own 9. I don't know if there's anything in the playbook, Coach, for second and 20-something.
The unfortunate part of holding is from the point of a foul, and it's at the 10-yard marker, but it's a devastating penalty, especially when it's in your own end. Tigers need a big play, Chris.
So here's Thiel in the shotgun. Under pressure, screen up the middle, but not much there as Brandon Laurie pulls in the reception, but got maybe 2 yards on the play. That'll bring up third and about 18.
Ramir
the quarter.
Velasquez made a great play there. Dependable linebacker for the Hawks. Smelled that one out. Defense is making big plays in the backfield, Chris.
That'll be the final play of the first quarter as they'll flip it around and head to the other end of the field for second quarter play as O'Hara leads 6-0 in what has been an exercise, at least to this point, in turnovers on downs and turnovers.
Yes.
The defenses have had the better of the play right now. O'Hara with a little more yardage to this point, 123, due in part to that 30-yard touchdown reception by Jermaine Haynes. Bishop Timon with 47 yards of total offense. Passing yards pretty even, 55 to 52 in favor of O'Hara. And rushing yards, we know O'Hara's had some gainers, but for Timon it's -5 on the ground, and that defensive line for O'Hara is a load for sure, and maybe that's why Timon is going to the air as much as they are. We've got Timon's stat man, John Graham, helping us out tonight, crunching the numbers for us, so we appreciate that, John, as he'll be updating us as much as he can.
By the way, impartial stats too, Chris. He swore.
That's right. He's doing both sides here. He's not
towards South Buffalo. There's no way at all. It's kind of like even
He's
killed.
not embellishing the numbers at all. He is
between Tonawanda and South
true
Buffalo,
to his profession.
It's right in the middle. Yeah. The fortunate thing about the Tigers, Chris, is that the kicking game has hurt them. I mean, the punting game.
Yeah.
You know, just sacrifice field position. It's difficult to make it up.
So 3rd and long here in an inverted wishbone look. Now they motion out of it. Hill takes the snap. Quick throw out to the left, and it's a lateral. After the reception, the ball is loose. And fortunately, no, it's still loose. O'Hara has it, and they're inside the 5-yard line. 1st and goal for Cardinal O'Hara. My, oh, my.
You know, Coach Licata wanted a big play. There's a hitch and pitch. You know, the old gadget play by high school.
Quantrell Moss had the fumble recovery and brought it down inside the 5. Not sure who forced the fumble there. Might have been Matthew Buckley.
Oh, gosh. You know, if that would have came across the outside, he did have some running room. Who knows when on that he would have scored, but just a play that didn't happen, and Coach wanted to pull it out.
About 3rd and 18. What do you got to lose?
I know.
Well, unfortunately, they lost the football. So a turnover here as the turnovers continue here in the first half. That's the 3rd one of the game. We're barely into the second quarter. Give is inside to Broadnax, fighting to the goal line. Did he get there? Touchdown, Cardinal O'Hara.
Yeah, if I had my choice too, I'd run behind the right side of that line. Stephen Boyd, Nigel Williams. By the way, Andrew Murphy doing a great job at center.
So a 4-yard touchdown run by Broadnax. And that is Broadnax's 9th rushing touchdown of the season. He leads the team. Guess we shouldn't be surprised who got the ball there.
You know what? He is the Swiss Army knife of that football team on offense, defense. He's all over the football field. What a dynamic player. You know, you and I talked to Coach over the week about his valuable nature to the football team. It's pretty evident.
Cardinal O'Hara going for 2 here. Quick handoff inside to Jamal Lewis, and he's in for the 2-point conversion. So that'll make it 14-0 in favor of O'Hara as we are less than a minute into the second quarter.
Okay, well, that second quarter has turned in the right kind of stuff for O'Hara, and the first quarter was kind of in favor of Timon in terms of the turnovers, as you mentioned before, Chris, you know, and the lack of a kicking game here. But got to be careful with O'Hara now because they are so explosive, as you know, the running backs we pointed out before are so explosive, and the wideouts can carry it any time, any way to the distance here. Timon's got to be careful about field position, surrounding it to the Hawks. They are as good as advertised.
So O'Hara's going to kick off here as Blighty and Odell will be back to return for the Tigers.
It'll be interesting to see how deep this kick is, Chris. I bet it goes as good as he can kick.
Yeah, Fields is their designated kicker, just a sophomore. So 11:43 left in this first half. Timon looking to get on the board here as they'll get the ball back. Kick is high and down to the 23. Fielding it there is Blighty. Gets through a crease, fighting for extra yardage, and all the way out to the 44-yard line. Good return there, and good drive start here for the Tigers.
Yeah, good field position. Blighty is to do everything. The senior, as I said before, wide out, does some kick returning and play some defense.
So a 20-yard return there by Blighty. We'll see if Timon can get this thing going here on offense. We see more of the signals on the sideline. Field in the shotgun. Here's the snap. Over to the right side, pulled in by Odell for a pickup of about 3, maybe 4.
Yeah, Mitchell Thiel, Chris, has a choice of going either side of the formation. Mentioned before, he's a bright young man. I think he wants to take what the defense is giving him, and he thought that the short side throw would be good there. And by the way, Chris, I spoke ill-advised here. They are using high school hash marks here rather than the pro hash marks.
2nd and 8. Thiel steps up in the pocket, dumps it off to Blighty, shakes a tackler, gets a hard hit, but he's got the first down, and flags fly. This is going to be for targeting here, as there was helmet contact, and Blighty is shaken up on the play.
Yeah, you could tell that might have been happening here, and, not any fault of the defensive back. He kind of felt that he wanted to just do a face-up tackle here, and this is where you have to protect the football player, Chris, even though it's going to be not well accepted, certainly by the defensive people.
Quantrell Moss, I believe, on the hit. I think the tricky thing, especially for kids at this level, is, you try to lower your body to get leverage and make a tackle. I mean, Moss's head was still up, but the player with the ball is trying to do the same thing. Brace yourself for contact. Right. Everybody kind of lowers their frame, and then you see the helmets hit sometimes.
Yeah, well said, Chris. And then I kind of think all the officials heard the helmet-on-helmet crack, the unmistakable plastic on plastic or whatever, headgear on headgear. And when you hear that, the flags will fly. And I kind of think we saw all 5 flags fly at the same time here.
Yeah, the field littered with yellow right now, and sometimes it's a tough line to walk, especially for players at this level. You want to be physical. It's a collision sport. But at the same time, they're trying to protect these kids with the head injuries so much. So you understand why the rule is there.
I see Tony Scanzuzzo, one of my former assistants, and now he's an administrator at the Williamsville East, or I should say the Williamsville system right now, and Mike Binkowski, a veteran official.
There are 2 fouls on the down. 1 live ball. Number 6, targeting, helmet contact. He's been disqualified.
So Quantrell Moss has been ejected from the game for the targeting hit, and that is a loss for them. I mean, he's one of their top receivers. He's also their starting safety. So Moss is done for the night. And Moss, had the fumble recovery down there that led to a touchdown.
First down as a result of the legal game. Dead ball.
And you can tell he's bothered by it. He's coming to the sideline. He's upset that he's been ejected. And you got to believe there was no ill intent there on the hit. He's just trying to make a play, and the helmet-to-helmet contact is inadvertent. He's broken up over there on the sidelines about being out of this ball game.
Yeah, and the inadvertent.
The result of the play is a 1st and 10 for the offense.
And the reaction to the play by Quantrell is suffered by the Tigers now, because they would have had great field position, but now they got marched back. Still a 1st and 10, but it could have been further down, almost in the red zone, Chris.
Right.
So anyway.
Yeah, somewhat offsetting there.
Yeah, let's play football now. Let's go.
So 1st and 10 here for the Tigers. as they are into O'Hara territory at the Hawks 43-yard line. 10:43 and counting left in this first half. Timon looking to get out on the board, down 14-0. Field takes the snap. The give is inside to Macari into Bennett. And the Moose is loose. Coming around the right corner, doubles back, trying to fight for extra yardage, but he's going to get dropped for a loss as they are swarming. The Hawks were swarming on that play.
Overall team speed, great pursuit. You know, I could count 4 or 5 Hawks right around the ball carrier, Chris.
So no gain is the official mark on that play as an O'Hara player is shaken up. That's looks like it's Ramir Velasquez, the middle linebacker. They've already lost a starting safety. Got a timeout by the officials here as Velasquez is still trying to catch his wind, perhaps. Maybe got the wind knocked out of him. Tough to tell.
You know, Chris, the unfortunate thing about the targeting rule is that not only is he out for this game, but certainly part of the next game, which kind of, you know, really hurts your football team and certainly your staff in terms of trying to make up for his lost athleticism, as you pointed out, because he's a two-way player, you know. A difficult call, but still, it's for everybody's safety, and it's difficult to take at the time it's being made here. But overall, we're trying to change the game so that it's safer for everybody.
And Velasquez, the middle linebacker, 30 tackles on the season coming into this game. And averaging 6 tackles a game. That's good for third best on the squad, which you would kind of expect to a certain degree coming from your middle linebacker.
Coach Dudley's team speed, Chris, is evident. It's probably causing Coach Licata to think about his running game a little bit differently too.
Velasquez is going to step off the field here, at least for a play. We'll see if he comes back on. So it looks like the adjustment is going to be Andrew Murphy, I believe, to middle linebacker as he goes from outside backer to inside. Jamal Lewis still going to flank him on one side. And it looks like Stephen Barbera, who made that special teams tackle, will be the outside linebacker on the other side. So 2nd and 10, fake the handoff, Thiel back to pass, deep over the middle. His man Blighty is there at the 20, spins away from a tackle and down to the 19-yard line.
Great post play here. All it is a cover 4 beater, as we say, Chris. First receiver took an inside route. The other one took a post route and got inside the receiver. First down, Tigers.
Velasquez back in at middle linebacker for the Hawks after missing that last play. A 24-yard pickup by Blighty as it's 1st and 10 at the 19. Timon threatening here with 9:20 left in the half. Thiel rolling away from pressure out to the left. Throws it there and incomplete. Wide open receiver was Odell, but he had to try to make a sliding catch. Let the ball get into his body there a little bit, Coach.
Yeah, I just slipped and unfortunately just let that thing hit his face mask. He probably wishes he had that one back again. Credit the quarterback, Mitchell, for getting outside the pocket and throwing left for a right-handed thrower is not easy. They had a pretty good throw in spite of that.
2nd and 10 now from the 19. Thiel going to roll out to his left, has an open receiver there. It's Blighty. Gets up for about a 6-yard pickup before he's brought down. Tackle made there by Jermaine Haynes.
Defensive people would call that soft coverage, Chris, because they're giving him quite a cushion. They don't want anything broken over the top, and Mitchell's taking what's given to him, and now they got to navigate probably a 2-down territory situation here, Chris,
Signals,
with the kicking game where it is.
Those cards have a UB Bull on it, too. I'm not surprised by that with head coach Joe Licata being an alum. Thiel drops back, looks to the right side, complete to Odell, trying to shake and bake the defender Broadnax, but he wasn't buying any fakes, takes him down, but he's inside the 10-yard line. Is that enough for a first down here?
Yes, it is.
1st and goal for Timon.
Well, now inside the red zone now, inside the 10, we're still looking at throwing the football. Mitchell Thiel does a pretty good job with his receivers. It looks like there might be just man-for-man coverage here with safety over the top. Look for a throw here, Chris.
Malachi Charleston in the backfield with Thiel, but the give and stopped right at the line of scrimmage there on the carry is Brandon Laurie.
Broadnacks again, I'll tell you. Oh, that's Hemphill right there.
Yeah, Hemphill on the tackle.
And by the way, one of the better basketball players in the area, doing a pretty good job of getting his hands up, putting pressure on the quarterback, and doing a pretty good job stopping the run game here.
So 2nd and goal after that no-gain carry by Laurie.
And I would think they would throw the ball here.
7:38 and counting in this first half. Thiel takes the snap, back to pass, miscommunication as Odell ran the out, and it looked like Thiel was expecting him to cut towards the post.
You said the right word there. I think the miscommunication was that receiver didn't cut it in tight enough. Ball was thrown before the break, but the receiver unfortunately wasn't taking the right path to the football.
So that'll bring up 3rd and goal now. See if they can take a shot at the end zone here. Blitz is on, look out! Ball is loose on the sack, but recovered by Timon. Holy mackerel, Stephen Boyd looked like a runaway train. My goodness.
You know, this is a little game put on. We talked about Hemphill putting the pressure on the quarterback. He occupied the tackle, and guess where Boyd went? Right inside of him, Chris. Dislodged the ball, fortunately for a time, and they fell on it, but Stephen Boyd, one-man wrecking crew.
Thiel barely got to the top of his drop, and Stephen Boyd was in his kitchen.
Before I could take a slurp of water, quarterback's on the ground.
So it's 4th and goal here, and it's a loss of, what do we have, a loss of about 10 on the play. So it's 4th and goal from the 18-yard line, but I think you got to draw up a play to try to get it to the end zone here, right? Maybe a design rollout or something to buy some time.
You can tell what's hurting Timon right now, the inability to really run the ball inside. You know, just the speed and the athleticism of the interior 4 of the Hawks, also with the linebacking crew that are phenomenally gifted here. So it's difficult to run the ball inside. So what do? Well, you want to throw the ball as best you can. But even a wide receiver screens, you know, the outside backers can make up some.
Yeah, they get to the
ground.
Football. They fly to the football.
Even though, Chris, the corners are given some pretty good cushion, and it might present itself as a way to maybe to exit the football. The overall team speed of the Hawks is pretty evident in the first half here.
So Thiel will be in the shotgun here. Drop back to pass, looking deep to the end zone. Trey Jenkins almost had it. Almost had the football broken up there on the play by Matthew Buckley, a corner.
What a great pass breakup, Chris. I mean, just at the right time. Just that ball was caught. That ball was caught by the offensive receiver, but Buckley just ripped it out at the point he had to for an incompletion.
It's a great effort by Jenkins. He had it in his one hand, and as he tried to pull it to his body, that's when Buckley got his hand in there to knock it away. So another turnover on downs here, Coach.
Yeah, Matthew Buckley, the senior, well, to credit him. That's a big turnaround. That's a big, that could be 6 points.
Give is to Broadnax here on 1st and 10. Flags fly on the play. There's probably going to be holding, as I think Reinhardt was held by Boyd on that play. This is probably coming back.
Yeah, I think Stephen Boyd got his hands extended, Chris. I think you're right. You know, we talk about hands inside, except his hand stayed glued to the jersey. A little bit longer than we wanted him to here. So, ball's coming back.
So holding is, in fact, the call.
Holding, offense, number 55, half the distance to the goal, redo the down.
Chris, I'm really impressed with Stephen Boyd, not only in offense.
He is.
Defense, oof.
He is a beast. Quick off the ball for a big kid.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you want to talk about closing speed. I mean, that Thiel was running for his life in a hurry on that last sack that he had.
That young man's got a lot of gas in his tank. Oof.
Here's the snap to Masters. Hands it off to Broadnax, but penetrating and dropping him for a loss is Reinhardt.
Alex did a great job. You got Stephen Boyd pulling and trying to kick out here, but Alex Reinhardt shows up. You know he will, no matter what the score is. Both he and Connor Dean are two physical defensive ends for the Tigers.
So now it's 2nd and 22 on a loss of 2 there by Broadnax. Hawks in the pistol now as Masters has Lewis behind him. Now he steps alongside him. Here's the snap, looking to pass to the right. Gets it to Broadnax, and he's got some running room over the 20, over the 25, dragging tacklers to the 29-yard line. First down, 23 yards on the play.
Malachi Charleston just had his hands with the offensive receiver, but the offensive receiver just took it away from him. Malachi was in the right spot. Just credit the receiver just for making a better play.
That was Broadnax. Oh,
yeah.
Encroachment here as Connor Dean had some happy feet and jumped a little too
Dead
early.
ball.
Yeah,
3-5.
this is what I wish they
Defense, number 55.
would say. If there's no contact
5-yard
made
penalty.
and no
Yeah,
harm,
like
no
give him
foul.
time to get back, right?
Yes. I mean, the college rule, the NFL rule is the same, but in high school, somehow, we're penalized differently. All right, enough frustration, Chris. That's all I'll mention that.
1st and 5, inside handoff is to Lewis, dragging tacklers with him for extra yardage. Look at the leg drive by Jamal Lewis.
Yeah, that's an attitude run.
I think he got the first down. He did. 7 yards on the carry. Lewis, a 5'10", 190-pound senior. Also plays some linebacker on the defensive side.
The Hawks are trying to impose their will, Chris, right here in this drive. Here we come.
Hemphill and Haynes split out wide to the right. Broadnax is out wide left along with Latko. The give is inside to Lewis. Gets about 2 on that carry.
Luke McMahon, great play. Defensive tackle just closing this now. Made a great play. Just stayed on his block, disengaged, made a play. Good play by Luke McMahon on the inside.
So 2nd and 8 here. Handoff again to Lewis. Knifing his way through the Timon defense. He's right at the first down marker. They give him 8 yards on that and a first down. Let's see where they mark it here. He is right at the stick. And I think the officials may decide to measure here.
You know, I bet when they show this film on Monday or whenever they do to the Cardinal O'Hara Hawks, coach will emphasize that Jamal Lewis, Chris, that ball was high and tight and secure.
And it is signaled a first down here for the Hawks.
He's not going to let that ball separate from his body ever again in this football game.
Oh, not after that fumble earlier. You are right. So 4 minutes and counting here left in this first half. And the Hawks are into Timon territory.
Big drive here. Going to muster up that running game and stop it if you're the Tigers here.
Masters with the give to Broadnax. Fighting through the line of scrimmage, trying to get to the second level. 3 yards on the carry.
Right side of the line. Doing a pretty good job there. Nigel Williams just turning out. Running back trying to get some running lanes up in there. And in the trenches right now, Chris. This is where the game is being decided right now, in the trenches.
Another give to Broadnax. Good penetration there by Timon. And first on the scene was the defensive tackle, Todd Perkovich.
Yeah, great inside zone play and a lot of penetration, backside pressure. Just took him down. That's what you like to see. A little trail pressure on those inside zone plays from behind. Cause offenses all kinds of trouble.
So 3rd and 7 here on the no gain play. Hemphill comes in motion right to left. Masters back to pass, looking over the middle. He's got Broadnax, first down and more. Gets away from one tackler down to the 27-yard line.
Great little play call. Masters to Broadnax will be calling that a lot tonight, Chris, and just a lot of open area where he can make some plays. Boy, he's always running football. When there's a big play, look for Broadnax. He'll probably be involved with it.
And he had a shake 'em, bake 'em move there. There's another inside handoff, but nothing doing that time. As Alex Hill, the linebacker, was the first to make the tackle. Charleston there on the assist.
Got to mention, too, that Malachi Charleston's only a 10th grader. As a lot of the Tigers are underclassmen, as you mentioned before, Chris, and he's going to be a better player a couple of years ahead of time. Look for him to accelerate his growth even with this game. Quite a good athlete. I saw him practice this past week. Really impressed with him.
We're under 2 minutes now in the half as the clock starts to become a factor, but O'Hara has all 3 timeouts. Give inside, and running for first down yardage is Jamal Lewis, still loose, and finally taken down inside the 15-yard line.
Yeah, this is a zone play that the running back cut back, Chris, and this is what defenses do. They over-pursue the zone play, and cutback lanes are there. The Hawkbacks are lethal on those cutback plays, and it showed it right there.
So Timon's the team that calls timeout here with 1:39 left in the half, as it's going to be 1st and 10 for O'Hara at the 12-yard line. And O'Hara has all their timeouts, so running the football not an issue as far as running clock here. But Timon is out of timeouts. Not that they're not going to be looking to stop the clock at this point in time.
You know, Chris, I'm watching that zone play, and I'm thinking back when I was coaching, eons ago. I know, but I remember telling linebackers, just don't over pursue that inside zone play, because backs just want to cut back. They see that lane and they hit it before you can react back. You just have to maintain gap control. I'm sure that Coach McDermott says the same thing to his players, and it's too enticing. Those backers run over the top, and those running backs are too good. They cut it back and they make it look like a big gash play.
Yeah, I mean, Lewis and Broadnax, you want to talk about being able to stick your foot in the ground, they can do it.
And they can hit the goalpost or score 6 points before you know it.
So Timon looking to keep O'Hara out of the end zone here and keep this a 2-score game.
Chris, I think I'd like to run the ball here. What do you think?
With the success they've had, why not? But here goes Masters to the air and almost intercepted in the end zone by Jenkins. The throw was intended for number 1 target, Jermaine Haynes. But Jenkins had it in his hands, could have had the pick. That would have been the 3rd takeaway by Timon.
Great position by Trey. I mean, he knew he had it. Boy, that would be a drive killer. How about that one? Let's remember that play.
Inside handoff goes to Lewis, and he's spun to the ground quickly. I believe that was Reinhardt on the tackle.
All right, with the score 14-0, with we're ticking down to a minute now, with minute 20 left or whatever, Christian. Now these 2 downs are very important now for O'Hara, really to. Calling a timeout now.
It's just going to call it. Yeah, this is an important play here. You only got 2 more kicks at this, unless you get to the 2-yard line, and then you will get a fresh set of downs. But I don't know if you'll be able to get all the way to 4th down again with 1:12 left and only 2 timeout. Well, now 1 timeout at your disposal.
Well, I know I'm calling the plays with you, Chris, and by the way, it's great to be with you tonight. I just look at the size of O'Hara on the right side with Boyd and Nelson and what Broadnax, along with Lewis, have been doing on the ground game, and I'm thinking in 2 downs, I would push all my chips to the middle of the table and run behind those guys and maybe give the ball to those guys, because they have been so explosive and so lethal for the first half of this football game. I sincerely doubt whether or not anybody, let alone the Tigers, could stop them for 2 downs. But we'll see what the Hawks have in store here. By the way, Chris, pretty good game here for the first half, you know? Pretty good game.
We've had our share of turnovers here in the first half. Trey Jenkins had his crack at a golden opportunity in the end zone there just a couple of plays ago. We'll see if Timon can hold O'Hara out of the end zone. 3rd and 9, pass down the middle, touchdown!
There you go.
Tight end Hemphill pulls it in for the score.
There's a mismatch right there. Can't run it, throw it to your best receiver on the inside, and that's Justin Hemphill. What a
throw it to your biggest target,
yeah,
6'4".
Yeah, can throw it
with
up there.
arms for days.
He can throw a little bit higher than any would pull it down. So credit to staff knowing their players and knowing what's best for the team. Great connection.
And it looks like Fields is on for the extra point. Snap is down, kick is up, and it is good. So with 1:08 left in the half, the Hawks are now up 21-0 on Timon.
You know, and quietly, Chris, C.J. Masters, a couple of touchdown passes in the first half, is having a pretty doggone good game in terms of connecting with his receivers and making some timely throws. He's got a lot of weapons, Chris, a lot of speed in the outside. There he is. By the way, how about this, Chris? That opposite coach named Joe Licata, what's coaching him up in the summer?
Yeah.
At Joe Licata's quarterback camp. Geez, after the game, I hope they still hug and kiss each other after
well,
this one here.
I mean, Coach Licata did talk about that in our conference call with him this week. He said it's always fun to go against kids that I've had a chance to be around and coach. Right. He goes, you know, as much as I want my team to win, he said it's nice to see the kids, you know, develop their game. And, I mean, I don't have to tell you, that's what coaching's all about, maximizing a kid's talent, making them a better player.
And the kind of person Joe is, I'm sure you'll congratulate him no matter what the score is. He got a heart of gold, and, you know, C.J. Masters has benefited from it, obviously, for a couple of years now.
Kick goes to the up man, and shaking a tackle and getting out to the 42-yard line there for Timon is Michael Johnson, the senior receiver.
You know, with only 59 seconds left, it's difficult to mount a drive, you know, but for Timon, just an unfortunate set of, you know, kicking game miscues that have kind of sacrificed a little field position here. But they just want to nip and pick away from the outside and try to gain a little bit here. You know, get some confidence going in, but Hawks show a lot of presence on the field and a lot of speed in the outside. That little play by Trey Jenkins, Chris, is really what coaches say, take what they're giving you, and really it's soft coverage on the outside and 4 deep secondary for people that are watching a football game. They notice a lot of cushion on the outside. Well, that's what Joe Licata is trying to do right now. He's trying to take advantage of the outside position of that cornerback with short throws.
Here's Thiel out to the right to Odell. Trying to drive for extra yardage. Gets right to the first down marker. 46 seconds and counting. No timeouts here for Timon. They're going to have to hurry. Fortunately, they're used to running this no huddle. 3rd and short. 32 seconds. Thiel back to pass. Over the middle, complete for a first down and more to Blighty. And they'll stop the clock and move the sticks.
Yeah, a little bend, no break defense formations here by the O'Hara Hawks. Just trying to bleed the clock here, Chris, and trying to go in with that 21-point bulge at half.
18 seconds, 17 seconds. Steele with the ball, looking deep down the right side, and incomplete. Intended receiver was Odell. Didn't even get his hands up.
I don't know if he knew where the ball was coming. Maybe he didn't
May not have
catch it.
spotted it.
Yeah.
So the clock stops with 11 seconds. If they hurry, maybe they get 2 plays. Maybe.
Out of timeouts, but look for some kind of shot throw here. Maybe, you never know. Why not? That's just what O'Hara is trying to prevent.
Timeout called by O'Hara here with 11 seconds left.
Don't get beat over the top, guys.
This is when Coach Dudley says, nothing cheap, nothing deep.
I like that, yeah.
Just play like a 3-deep zone or something, or
Make
a
it
7-deep zone.
Yeah, make it a 5-deep zone. Bring those linebackers back there too. I don't care if they have a little 10-yard out gain. Let's prevent the 6-point play here.
So we remind you, I mean, this is a chance here, Coach, for Timon to double dip because they won the coin toss and deferred. They get points here. They also get the ball first in the second half. I mean, this is a big opportunity here for them.
Yeah. And along that same line, I'm sure Coach Dudley just wants to prevent a big score here. And those 3 defensive backs are just within the scope of the zip code of Orchard Park right now. They're about 20 yards. Well, yeah, they'll be moving back at least that far.
Yep.
They're going to be retreating. I guarantee you that.
3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Thiel in the shotgun. In a roll to his right. Throws it deep down the right sideline, and it's picked off there. Intercepted and coming the other way is Hemphill. Still on his feet. There are flags down. Runs over a Timon player, but is brought down at the 45-yard line as time expires. We'll see what the officials have to say with flags on the field.
Yeah, I think we'll go in at halftime. I think there was offensive pass interference here. At least that was the first indication that I saw. But if it was defensive pass interference, there's one on time down before the teams go inside for halftime, Chris. We'll see. But I kind of think it was offensive.
There are 2 fouls on the play.
Oh, okay.
Pass interference, defense. Pass interference, offense. They both cancel. Since they happened on the last time down of the period, we'll have to extend the period for 1 down.
Is that possible? Can you have offensive and defensive pass interference on the same play? Everybody's interfering with everybody? What?
There must have been something.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Yeah, there must have been something during that play that caused both guys to get penalties. It's just might have been a pull and check kind of thing too. And then when the ball was there,
that is an unusual call. There's usually somebody responsible. Now, both parties is a new one for me.
Yeah, 2 separate plays. So here's an untimed down.
Yeah, replay the down. No time on the clock. Field steps up in the pocket, sends one deep. And no good, incomplete. The intended receiver was Blighty, I believe, on the play there. And that is the half with your score. Cardinal O'Hara 21, Timon nothing. The Tigers will get the ball coming out of the locker room to start the second half, but we'll step aside. We'll be back with you when second half action resumes. Here with Monsignor Martin football streaming live on the New Era Field network of social media channels and on onebuffalo.com. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, great. Awesome. We don't have a halftime show. We literally come back like a minute before kickoff, but I'm going to try to get some of those stats out to everybody.
Start the clock, please.
bit of a buzz.
Timon will be receiving at the north end of the field.
Welcome back to Monsignor Martin High School football action, streaming live on the New Era Field network of social media channels and on onebuffalo.com. Chris Brown, Len Jankowicz with you, getting ready for second half action between Timon and O'Hara. It has been all O'Hara on the scoreboard, and it's been all O'Hara, Coach, in terms of the ground game. Timon has just been unable to get anything going on the ground. They've had to get all their yards through the air, and you know, you think about it, Mitchell Thiel doing the best he can. He's 18 of 29 for 121 yards passing. You know, 7 catches each by Blighty and Odell. But the running game, minus 14 yards at the half. It's really hard when you're down on the scoreboard and you're one-dimensional.
Yeah, it's like playing football with one hand tied behind your back, Chris. And, you know, let's talk about O'Hara. How about that two-headed monster, Lewis and Broadnax? And they're as explosive as any backs in Western New York, and they're doing their damage tonight versus the Tigers.
Yeah, they've combined for 20 carries for 104 rushing yards in the first half and a touchdown. Broadnax with 90 all-purpose yards. Here's the kickoff. Timon bringing it back. It's Blighty up over the 35 and out to the 38-yard line. And as we were talking at the end of the first half, Timon had the possession of the ball at the end of the half. They were trying to get some points on the board, knowing they had a chance to double dip, getting the first possession here after winning the coin toss at the start of the game and deferring.
Yeah, Chris, I don't know, short of showing the team the Remember the Titans film or whatever, I don't know what Coach Licata can do now in terms of running the football. He's got to throw it, Chris. It's pretty evident. O'Hara's great on defense. They swarm to the football. We talked about how quick their inside linebackers are. Timon has to throw it.
Thiel going to roll to his left, toss it out to the left to Odell, and he's met right after he catches the football. Nice tackle there by Jamal Lewis.
Yeah, you see him on defense. Then, bad enough, Chris.
Yeah.
You see him on offense.
And as you said, Coach, I mean, this O'Hara defense is completely fine with just keeping it all in front of them, all in front of the sticks. And, you know, just bend a little bit without breaking. Thiel back to pass, pump fakes, under pressure and brought down for the sack. And pulling him down is the defensive end, Marty Latko. There's a flag on the play as well.
Offense, number 52.
Holding the call on Reinhardt, the right tackle.
Yeah, I think that might, I don't know whether or not they'll take it. They might refuse the penalty, Chris, and bring up.
Holding, offense, number 52. That penalty's been refused. Count it down.
Latko will get credit for the sack on the play. Loss of 1.
Yeah, Chris, this is when the game can maybe get away from you because, as you mentioned, they're going to become one-dimensional, and that's just what O'Hara wants to do is put pressure on the quarterback and let those linebackers and defensive backs do their work.
Looking to the left sideline. Oh, unable to get his head around in time there was Blighty. He was open on the comeback route there. That'll bring up 4th and 9. And he was practicing at halftime here, Coach.
Yep.
the left guard, Luke McMahon, and he was booming him 40 yards. So let's see if practice at halftime has him back in form here as he tries to flip the field for the Tigers.
Luke, disconnect your brain and let your body do your thing, man. Let's go.
Here's the snap.
All
and
right.
that is a much better punt.
There you go.
Down to the 35, but it is returnable. And stretching his way to midfield there. Flag on the play late was Jermaine Haynes.
With a late flag, just where it was tossed, it probably is a little hold, and the ball will be placed back a little bit here. But that's what was needed in the first half, Chris. Just some kicking yardage, just to push O'Hara back a little bit. The Timon just didn't have in the first half. You know, halftime is made for adjustments, Chris. But
holding on the return, number 9, 10-yard penalty, 1st and 10.
I don't think Coach Dudley has to do anything other than just what he did in the first half. Continue just pounding the ball inside. Follow Stephen Boyd. Follow Williams. Just follow that offensive line because they've done a heck of a job in the first half, and sure we'll do the same thing in the second half.
Fumble on the snap, and Masters just has to fall on the ball to keep possession. That'll be a loss there of 4. 2nd and 14. 10.5 left in this third quarter. O'Hara up 21-0 on Timon.
Yeah, I think that was an attempted jet sweep, but Mr. Broadnax will have an attempt a little bit later on to make a play.
So Masters in the shotgun. Here comes Broadnax again. They might be running the same play. They fake the sweep, give the handoff, but great penetration by Timon on the play. And it's going to be another play for a loss.
Yeah, a little counter coming off the jet sweep, and they had push on the inside.
I mean, there were a host of Timon tacklers in there, 3 at least.
Chris Barnes was in there too. Pretty good job on the inside. Almost like a little bear look on the inside. Centers covered, guards covered, other guards covered.
So we got 3rd and 15 now. After a loss of 1 on that play.
I think I misspoke. I think it was Alex Reinhardt on the inside, Chris, doing that job.
Let's see if the ends can pin their ears back. They're coming on a blitz. It's a jailbreak, but the screen works underneath. There goes Jermaine Haynes. Is he going to get the first down?
Oof.
I think he did. He's right at the sticks. It's going to come down to where they put this ball down. Oh, yep. It's right there.
That same play gave him a touchdown before, Chris, and it might be fortunate enough to maybe give him a first down here. If it is, and it's awful, awful close. What do you think? Make the call.
Oh,
what do you
boy,
think,
I
Chris?
can't tell from here. I'm too far away.
Well, my eyesight is shot from 10 feet away, so I don't know. It looks like it might be a little short. Looks like
it's close. I think they got to measure this.
Mr. Binkowski says, bring the sticks
Bring
out.
the chains out, yeah.
He says, first down.
Oh, wow. Signals first down right off the bat. No measuring tonight.
Well, his eyes are better than ours. Yes.
I mean, it's right there. I mean, it's not like you're surprised it's a first down. I just thought they'd measure it. So 1st and 10 for O'Hara from their own 43. After the 15-yard pickup by Haynes, the give is inside and over the left guard. I believe that was Lewis.
Yeah, just
it's about 2 or 3 there.
Right, inside zone play. Back to the left-hand side now. You know, a little try to run over Zach Randall and Ramir Velasquez and that unsung hero in the middle of that line, Andrew Murphy. The coach loves him, Chris. One of the most coachable kids on that O'Hara Hawks football team.
Snap to Masters, looking deep down the right side. Might have put too much on it, and he did. Overthrows intended receiver Hemphill. You know, Hemphill's listed as a tight end, but he's detached every single time. I mean, when you're 6'4", at the high school level, they got you going out for passes. You're not doing a whole lot of blocking at the line when you go 180.
And why not throw the ball to him, Chris? You know, good target, big target, sure-handed. And as we mentioned before, one of the better hoopers in the area. And coach is glad to have him on both sides of the football, Chris. What an athlete.
So now 3rd and 8 here for the Hawks. Broadnax coming in motion again on that jet sweep. He's going to keep it this time. Does he get the edge? Gets around Dean. No! Dean tracks him down from behind and forces a 4th down.
Yeah, and the jet sweep, you want perimeter help, Chris. You want somebody to maintain leverage and pursue, and that's what they had from the defensive backfield. Pretty good job there.
I mean, Broadnax can run. To see Dean track him down from behind, that was a nice play by the defensive end there.
Yeah, there's no quitting the Tigers. You know, they're still playing hard. You know, no matter what the score says, the Tigers haven't won in a while here, but they're still giving effort.
4th down, they're going for it. Pass is high, though, and incomplete to Haynes. Turnover on downs. Timon will get the ball in Cardinal O'Hara territory here with 6:52 left in the 3rd quarter.
You know, Coach Licata, I hear him speak to his team after practice during the week leading up to this football game, and he mentioned the little things. You know, Chris, just doing the little things right turns into big things, and then you'll have a big surprise at the end of the game. Well, this is a big drive for Timon now. It would be great for them to cash it in and force the issue to O'Hara and say that, hey, we're back in this football game. We can score. We can score with you. Let's see what happens here. I think they're playing with probably 10 men.
Timeout. Head coach O'Hara.
Yeah, 10 men on the field for O'Hara on defense, and that's what Coach Dudley saw. He said, hey, can we get an 11th out there? Let's get a timeout here.
Yeah, we don't need that kind of advantage given them kids. But anyway, it would be a big series of downs for the Tigers to come back here and push one down. And again, they're going to do the little things, Chris, get the short outs. The cornerbacks will be giving some cushion here so that the quick passes can be on the outside, which is okay because, you know, it'll be a controlled drive, and you want to move the ball any way you can. Certainly if you can't run it, Chris, advance at throwing the football. Just take your running game on the outside.
For those that might be just joining us, the quick update on how the scoring happened and how we got to 21-0 O'Hara. Near the end of the 1st quarter, Masters found Jermaine Haynes for a 30-yard touchdown reception. The 2-point conversion attempt failed to make it 6-0. And then not more than a minute later, Brandon Broadnax went in from 4 yards out for a touchdown for O'Hara to make it 14-0 as they were successful on the 2-pointer. And then with 1:08 left in the half, Masters found Hemphill in the end zone for a 12-yard touchdown reception, and the extra point was good. Here's the handoff, and coming around the right side is into Bennett, but he didn't get north-south quick enough. So no gain on the play.
Yeah, McCurry is going more east-west, as they say, more so than north-south, and you just can't do that to the Hawks defense. They pursue great. They push things inside out, and then the contained people do their job and clean up the mess.
As soon as you find that crease, you got to stick your foot in the ground and get going north and south there.
And Chris, there are some grown men on the inside of that defensive line. There's some grown people there.
Field fakes the handoff, back to pass, looking deep down the left side, and complete! Caught by Odell, gets away from the tackler, and he's inside the 10. 1st and goal for the Tigers.
Big play here, big vertical throw. Field finds him. Breaks contain. Odell is going to make a big play for the Tigers. This is what they're needing here. They need some juice and big plays, and they got one right there from Sylvan Odell.
Biggest play of the game, 41 yards. 1st and goal from the 5. Inside handoff, and nothing doing. O'Hara says, get on back. Hemphill there, along with Ramir Velasquez, the middle linebacker.
And here's what that play does, Chris. It almost negates any run play for the next 3 downs, you know. And now here comes the pass rush. Here comes all the pressure packages that the Hawks can maybe put on the quarterback position here. So it kind of limits what you can do. But You know, you just have to play with the cards being dealt to you right now. And
I'm guessing the option really isn't in here run-wise for Coach Licata's offense. I'm trying to think of anything else they could do with the run game. They fake the handoff and they go out to the right side. And Odell makes the catch, but he is met immediately by Broadnax.
you know what, though, Chris? Even though that was a great hit by the defender, at least it advanced the football. And,
right.
And it's tough going inside the 10-yard line. Everybody knows it right now.
Less space, right.
Well, here comes our jumbo package, Chris.
That's right.
You got these jumbo fellas coming in here right now. I love this.
Reinhardt is in at quarterback like he was in the first half.
I think the field is tilted a little bit to the right now. I got all these linemen there.
Here's
Here it
the
comes.
snap coming to the left. No, do we have some movement before the snap?
Yeah,
we may have.
I think so.
That's too bad. Reinhardt was ready to stick it up in there.
Dead ball. False start. Left side of the line, offense.
New quarterback cadence, Chris. Maybe that has a lot to do with it. You know, you have a different mouth telling you what's going on. Anyway.
So that'll back him up 5.
Oh.
So it's now going to be 3rd and goal at the 11. 4:28 and counting. Timon looking to get on the board. This is their best chance of the game by far. May have to take a shot at the end zone here.
Well, now I see the defensive backs having a little tighter coverage. They're not going to make that short throw as easy. Deal has to look for another receiver, maybe other than that outside one.
Looking to the left, going into the end zone, and intercepted. Broadnax with the INT in the end zone. Boy, he is an athlete.
Yeah, Chris, that's an outside linebacker stealing a fade ball in the corner of the end zone. How about that?
That's pretty good. That's
How
pretty
about
good.
that?
That kid could play DB in college, don't you think?
I
Some
think
level.
so too. By the way, great attitude. He's one of the captains of the football team, you know, and just squashed out a pretty good scoring attempt.
I'm just glad they took a shot at the end zone. You had to at that point.
Probably 2 would
even
be
on
coming.
4th down if
right.
it came to it.
No question.
So after the INT and the touchback, it's 1st and 10 from the 20 for the Hawks, and they're going up top down the right sideline. Just overthrew Haynes, the intended receiver. Jenkins was step for step, but if that was dropped over the shoulder, Haynes might still be running.
Yeah, this is your typical shot play right after a big momentum shift play by your defense. But you're right, a little overthrown. But a good attempt because it loosens up the defense a little bit and maybe causes the defensive backs to say, yeah, they do throw the ball deep once in a while.
Three receivers left, one to the right. Masters with the handoff and running for yardage here and dragging tacklers with him. Did he lose the football, though? That's the question. Did Reinhardt rip it out?
Oh, that was a judgment call, I believe.
They're fighting for the ball on the ground there. Jamal Lewis had the carry, and Reinhardt was trying to rip the ball out of his hands. And, hey, why not? You're down 21-0. If you know help is coming to tackle him, work on ripping the ball out.
Right, and I think Mr. Lewis is the benefit of a quick whistle by the sideline judge. It caused
Forward
the play to go
progress,
dead.
I guess?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Which was, that's a safe way to go because bad things happen if you let a play extend because kids get slammed to the ground. And
Yeah.
bad tempers flare. So good call. Blow it quick.
That brings up 3rd and 4. Masters back to pass, looking deep down the right sideline again, but off the mark as it was intended for Hemphill and overthrown. So that'll bring up 4th down and 4. And is Coach Dudley going to go for it here at his own 26? Let's see.
Well, with the 21-point bulge, I don't think he needs to give any reason.
He is going to go for it here.
How about that? How about that? Well, with the runners you have back there and the thrower you have back there, why not?
Looks like Timon showing blitz, and they're coming. Pass is complete. What a catch made by Haynes for the first down. Goodness gracious.
How about that? From inside your own 30-yard line to convert, great throw and catch. Jermaine Haynes.
He climbed the ladder for that one, Coach.
Well, he's 6'3". He can get up there already. God made him that big.
Yeah, he doesn't need a ladder.
That's right.
There's the snap, back to pass again, going down the middle of the field, complete to Broadnax, dragging two tacklers with him to the 35-yard line. Broadnax goes beast mode.
Yeah, nothing fancy here, just right down the seam. Kind of a half of a four vertical look. Both receivers went down there, and who other than Broadnax would you think would come down with that football? Boy, he's been all over the field. Made a big play in the end zone just a little while ago, and now he's making an offense. What a young man to have on your football team. That Swiss Army knife, as Coach Duffy calls him.
1st and 10 from the Timon 35 as Cardinal O'Hara is on the move. Big hole over the left side, running for extra yardage, Jamal Lewis before he's forced out of bounds at the 10.
Well, that was almost like a little draw play, kick out, blocked by Boyd, and Boyd almost scored. It was just a kind of little delay that caused the defensive rush to
25 yards on that carry.
Yeah,
So the yards are coming in chunks now, Coach. Another inside handoff. Lewis weaving through tacklers. He's into the end zone for a touchdown.
Wow.
That was a quick snap. I don't know if Timon was even set.
You talk about thunder and lightning. I think it's lightning and lightning. Both these backs just can hit you anytime, any place. The depth that the Hawks have now in terms of running the football, being explosive as they are, just tough to come back from a 28-point deficit like this if you're the Tigers. But credit the backfield of the Hawks for pouring it on here.
Zion Fields on for the extra point. Hold is down, kick is up, and it is good. 1:54 left in the third quarter, and the Hawks keep it on the ground and keep on keeping on. They lead 28-0 over Timon.
Both those backs, I kiddingly call them lightning and lightning, but both of them have a lot of yardage piled up today. They're both lethal. Scores here or there, but then they turn around and play some defense, Chris. That's phenomenal.
Right, Broadnax in particular. Yeah.
So they're on the field for 48 minutes probably.
Broadnax had 90 all-purpose yards at halftime. I mean, he's got to be up over 150 total.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got the interception in the end zone to thwart Timon's greatest chance at putting some points on the board.
And Chris,
he's done everything.
Yeah, when the backs are going, let's give credit to the offensive linemen. If you go defense or offensive left to right, Ramir Velasquez, Zach Randall, Andrew Murphy, Stephen Boyd, we talked about him all night, and Nigel Williams. Those guys have been pretty awesome on the offensive line for the Hawks tonight.
I mean, those last two run plays, just gaping holes. Just really establishing the line of scrimmage. Here's the kickoff by the Hawks. Fielded there by Jenkins. Going to come over the left side. Dodges a tackler. Gets up the left sideline before he's knocked out of bounds at the 41. Good return there by Jenkins. And there's a flag because Jenkins did some extracurricular after he got up. He's going to get flagged for taunting for sure. And Coach Licata is not going to be happy with that. It was right on the sideline, too.
I think you're right about the frustration, but it's probably going back to not only this game, but
Dead
earlier
ball.
games where
Personal foul, number 10.
They were close in many ball games and let it slip away. So these are young men, difficult to hold their emotions in.
Yeah, but you just made a nice play for your team. You got it out to the 41, and then you got to act like the man, and now you hurt your team.
Believe me, Chris, in coaching, there are no explanations for things like that, but they happen. Believe me,
Dead
they
ball.
happen.
Personal foul. Number 10 on the receiving team. 15 yards. First and 10.
So now Timon will be backed up 15 yards from where the return ended. That's going to bring them all the way back to their 26.
Yeah, difficult hole you put yourself into here. You got a long, the long green you got to make up here, and certainly not the least of which is facing that O'Hara defense that swarmed to the football.
There's the snap to Thiel, throws it out to the right side, complete, and forced out of bounds there at the 32-yard line is Jeff Pilarski. Pilarski, just a freshman.
And there's quite a few on the Timon Tiger team. And that's positive yardage, In a 28-0 football game, you just want some positive things to pile up on each other and just, move it whatever way you can. And right now, through the air is the best way for Timon to move it.
There's the snap, looking to his left and a little low and unable to make that shoe-top tackle or a shoe-top catch is Pilarski. As Coach Licata working some younger players into the lineup here. Chris Meadows, another freshman, also in there at receiver.
You talked about the pass rush, Chris, being a factor in the second half. Well, now it's causing Mitchell Thiel to throw off his back leg, and a lot of times those underthrown balls are because you're throwing off your back leg and that's following through because of the rush coming in.
Here's a snap to Thiel, throws it out to the left side, complete to Odell, spins away, heads to the sideline before he's tackled by Haynes. But that's good enough for a first down. So Timon will move the sticks as they're now out to their own 43.
Sullivan's made a few catches today. Credit him for his effort.
So we see more of the cards over there by Coach Licata. We got Donkey from Shrek, Timon from the Lion King.
Is there a touchdown on one of those things that you can use and pull off like a little token?
I would take it.
Yep.
Oh, the Incredible Hulk, too. Look at that. There's Thiel, back to pass, steps up in the pocket, going to tuck it and run, and trying to just fall forward. We'll see where they mark his forward progress. It looks like it's going to go for no gain here when all is said and done.
Guess who's there? Jamal Lewis. If it isn't him, it's Broadnax. And
they have been active tonight, no question about it.
Both sides of the football. Coach Dudley was correct when I went to practice, and he says, you're going to be impressed by the outside linebackers of my football team. Yes, I am, Coach. Yes, I am.
Confirmed.
Yes, I am.
That was the last play of the third quarter, so 3 in the books. Fourth quarter action to come here as O'Hara leads at 28-0 over Timon. And our ace statistician, John Graham from Timon, helping us out tonight as we look at some of the individual stats. C.J. Masters, 8 of 16 for 167 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Mitchell Thiel, 23 of 37 for 182 and a pick. Jamal Lewis now at 15 carries for 95 yards and a touchdown. He's averaging more than 6 a rush, Coach. And then Broadnax, 11 for 51 and a touchdown. Broadnax also has 72 yards receiving, so he's at 123 all-purpose on the night. Lewis right now at, 120 all-purpose as he has 25 yards receiving to go with his 95 yards rushing. Sullivan Odell now with 11 receptions on the night. He's like the Edelman here of this team.
Yes.
For 75 yards.
Go back to Broadnax and Lewis, too, and put a little asterisk there and say, couple that with all their defensive stats that have been off the charts, too.
Right. So 2nd and 10 to be the first play of this fourth quarter for Timon. Thiel going to throw it out to the left sideline. It's complete, but it's only going to go for a short gain to Odell. Maybe a yard on the play. That's going to bring up 3rd and long.
You know, I hate to say it, Chris, but that's where Coach Licata has to attack O'Hara. Is in a flat, is in the open green space, so to speak, for anybody watching a football game where there's some open land. You know, it makes it easier to throw the football, but what you see the defensive backs doing right now is having little close quarters coverage on the outside receiver. So now what do you do on 3rd down? Here comes the pressure.
Oh, they're bringing it. Pass over the middle, complete. Odell, 1st down yardage and more to the 39. That's going to put him up over 100 yards on the night, I think.
Yeah, so what do you do?
We're very close.
Yeah, extended motion and a little slant on the inside. Those slants are difficult, Chris, because the second guy coming through that zone is going to be man-to-man, and because they're so cushiony, that's almost a given there. Great call by Coach Licata for a 1st down there. And good completion, certainly.
19 yards on that catch, I think, was the measurement. So 1st and 10 from the 39. Here for Timon.
You know, Chris, for no points on the board for Timon, how about Mitchell Thiel's stats? Aren't they something?
Well,
not reflective of the score?
He really stood in there and took a hit at the end of that play, and he's going to take one now as he's dropped for the sack out near midfield. Big number 70, Nigel Williams, gets the QB takedown on the play.
You know, Brandon Lowry, running back, I think he's hurting a little bit. He's got some injuries, got run over there by some of the inside pressure coming from people like Boyd and the rest of them.
Yeah, I mean, so the folks at home can understand. Nigel Williams, he's a junior, 6'3", 310.
Yeah.
That's a big fella. Here's a completed pass to Trey Jenkins. And gets about 11 yards back after the loss on the sack. And that'll bring up 3rd and 8.
You know, you hate to say, oh, well, the game's over right now. You know what, though? The little advances that Timon can do right now, I mean, they have some games remaining on their schedule, and they're into the B Monsignor Martin schedule right now, where they're going to play O'Hara certainly tonight, and St. Mary's coming up here. So they're getting their back half of the schedule ready. So any kind of improvement, Chris, here, any kind of movement with the offense is good for them, because it's maturing a young football team. As we mentioned before, we're in different stages of development with both O'Hara and Timon. Timon is maybe a year or two behind O'Hara in terms of when Coach Licata arrived and the number of kids that he has here that are so young. They're underclassmen.
There's the snap to Thiel. Pressure coming. Steps away from it. Rolls to his left. Throws it away and incomplete. Almost came up with the ball there, Odell. And there's a flag in the secondary.
Sullivan Odell, when his quarterback was in trouble, Chris, he came back to the sideline, came back to his quarterback.
Holding. Defense, number 9.
I think number 9 disagrees with that call.
Yeah, Matthew Buckley not happy with that call, but it's not changing.
No.
So we're going to mark this yardage off, and it'll be good for a 1st down.
Holding. Defense, number 9. 1st down on penalty.
So 1st and 10 here for Timon at the Cardinal O'Hara 28.
Keep marching, no matter. They don't ask you how, they ask you how many.
Yeah.
You know, how you get down there.
Fake the handoff, throwing deep down the middle and complete into the end zone. Touchdown! Jake Blighty.
Who else but the senior, Chris? Just a little post pad, and they did this before. A little in route by the second receiver and a post with the guy on the outside, and that's what they call a cover 4 beater, because it puts stress on that outside cornerback. He loses leverage, and Jake Blighty. Well, there's some fight in them Tigers, Chris.
They're got to be going for two here with 9:20 left.
You know, I heard Coach Licata during practice during the week, Chris, says if that doesn't score a touchdown, I'll eat my hat. Well, you didn't have to eat his hat. At least he scored one touchdown for him.
Here's the snap on the two-point conversion. Pressure. Field rolling away from it and into the end zone for a two-point conversion. A well-executed improvisational play as Odell comes up with the two-pointer. And Timon's on the board.
There you go.
It's 28-8 the score with 9:20 remaining. Good drive put together there by the Tigers.
Yeah, I was just going to say, just a time-consuming, but who cares at this point, long drive by the Tigers, maybe aided by a foul here or two by Harris, secondary, Chris. But,
yeah, but they overcame a sack. They
yes.
were facing 2nd and 17. They get 9 yards back. The penalty helps them convert the 3rd and 8. But, hey, when they give you a gift, you got to make the most of it, and they did that. Three plays later, they're in the end zone.
And I'm with you. And I think the play selection was credible for Coach Licata, too, because they were hitting the outside seams and then creases them with an inside route and then over the top to who other than Jake Blighty, who's been a great receiver for him all year. Coach Licata there on screen. You know, Chris, he's been with a Division I program. He's been with Cincinnati, you know, as a free agent pickup. So he's been tutored by some quality offensive coordinators, and believe me, he knows how to scheme them up. It's just a matter of time before these kids get older, get more mature, that they'll be scoring touchdowns with the best of them, because he has a great analytical mind about football and knows how to move people around and make them score.
Here's the kickoff, and it's a squib. They're going to try the onside kick. It doesn't work, and dragging tacklers out to midfield. Goodness gracious. Who is that fella that got the ball as the up man? Hawks have the ball here. Oh, it was big number 50, Ramir Velasquez. No wonder he was dragging people with him.
Yeah. When those offensive linemen get their hands on the football, Chris, they don't want to let it go. He's been doing a good job at tackle, too.
And Velasquez, the left tackle for the Hawks.
Good player for Coach Dudley. He remarked about him, too, as being one of those guys that he can depend on. Maybe you'll put him back as a returner next week.
Oh, boy. Don't give Ramir any ideas. He'll be right in Coach's ear.
Hope they don't replay this thing for him, right?
Inside handoff, trying to find a crease there is Lewis, but nothing doing there as Alex Hill, the linebacker, came up to fill.
Well, if I was a few points up in this football game and I were the Hawks, I think I'd like to rely on my running game here, but certainly they can throw with the best of them, and every time I thought they might run it, they threw for some yardage here. So they're an explosive team, but let's see how they chew up the clock here.
Masters back to pass, throwing the post. He's got Hemphill. 20, 10, 5, touchdown Hawks!
That's how you chew up the clock, score points. And why not?
49 yards on the touchdown.
I think there was a
Masters to Hemphill.
Yeah, a little busting coverage there, but credit Justin for coming down with the ball. Perfectly thrown ball. And C.J. Masters putting up his 3rd touchdown through the air.
Yes, that is correct, because Broadnax and Lewis scored 2 on the ground. The other 3 have come through the air, and that's the longest one of the night. Extra point is up and good. So with 8:33 left in the game, the Hawks put 7 on the board. It's 35-8 in favor of Cardinal O'Hara.
I'm sure that kick was a pleasant little sight for the O'Hara staff, too. They like to have that kicking game kind of clicking here. in this game and certainly those that follow.
And for Cardinal O'Hara, points have not been hard to come by the last 2 weeks. They won 39-6 over St. Mary's last week. They've almost matched that total here with 8 minutes left to go.
You know, Chris, I got to mention too O'Hara's remaining schedule. They host Gilman High School out of Baltimore on 13th, and then travel to Steubenville, Ohio for a matchup with an Ohio power they've been doing for a long, long time, even extending back to previous coach's reign of Angelo Chandra. And then they finish up with Canisius. How about that on the 27th of October? So they got some pretty staunch opponents coming up.
Here's the kickoff, finding some running room and getting out to the right is Ina Bennett, who's out of bounds at about the 45-yard line. That Ina Bennett's got some ability. If they could just get him going north-south faster,
Right.
I'm telling you, he could be a good running back for them going forward. He's just a freshman, coach. 6'2", 195. I know we saw a talented freshman running back last week in Jimmy Scott from St. Joe's. This kid could be another one. You know, if they get him enough carries, he sees it enough. There's some talent there.
Yeah, there's a few freshmen on the Timon squad that are going to be coming up and making headlines in the paper later on.
Handoff there, and taken down on the play was Ina Bennett. Lost the ball at the end of the play, but his knee was already down, clearly.
I mentioned the O'Hara's remaining schedule, and here's Timon's now, Chris. They play at Joe's on the 12th of October, at St. Mary's, but they'll be at New Era Field, and finish up at St. Francis. So they have a pretty demanding schedule to finish up their year, too.
Here's a pitch play. Coming around the right side and getting a nice pickup there was Corker. He's a starting cornerback, but seeing some action now on the offensive side of the ball, and he gets to the edge quickly. He's got some get up and go.
Yeah, this late in the game, not all that unusual now to see some fresh legs in the backfield making some yardage around the edge here. But good for him. Showing the coach what he's got.
Wearing that 21, he kind of reminds me of the old James Brooks for the Bengals.
Oh, yeah.
Take the handoff, Thiel back to pass, under pressure, going to try to roll away from it. Cannot, as he's brought down there by Hemphill. And big number 55, Stephen Boyd.
You know, Chris, if I had to pick out some, and I was going to ask you about this too, some defensive MVPs from the O'Hara side here, boy, you have to include Stephen Boyd as a prime suspect in that.
Yeah, Boyd and Broadnax primarily, but there have been some other contributors over there. I mean, Lewis goes sideline to sideline. Hemphill's made some plays. Latko had the sack.
Yep.
A pursuit sack. Haynes had a couple of pass breakups.
Dead ball. Illegal substitution. 12 men on the field. Kicking team. 5-yard penalty.
But when it seems like there's a big play needed on the defensive side of the ball, especially from a lineman, I mean, all fingers are pointing to Stephen Boyd to make it. You know.
He's a talent, no question.
Yep.
Here's Luke McMahon, the big fella, back to punt with 6:45 remaining. Snaps a little high, kick just got away. Takes a time and bounce. And that one's going to go all the way down to the 40. Flags are flying, though.
No idea, Chris, what this might be.
I don't know, but Coach Dudley has given an earful to one of his players. He is not happy with whatever penalty he committed. He was pointing up at the scoreboard, probably saying, look at the scoreboard. Why are you doing what you're doing here?
Personal foul. Receiving team, number 9. Live ball foul.
So that was Matthew Buckley, who cited for the infraction, and that was the guy getting the earful from Coach.
Yeah. Time for Matthew to take to the sideline and just probably watch the remaining minutes here.
So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Hawks from their own 40. 6:29 left here. They might have to mark this off even more after the personal foul. Yeah, they will. That's going to probably go all the way back to the 25.
Personal foul, live ball number 9. At the end of the kick, the ball was in possession of the receiving team. They will receive the ball after a 15-yard penalty.
Look what the yardage that is sacrificed in that call. It's just incredible. All right, well, here we go, Chris. Let's see what Coach Dudley has in mind with his two-headed monster, the passing game and a run game here. You can't say what might happen because they're equally skilled in either side of that football here. Whether or not they throw it or run it, they're equally skilled.
He's got Broadnax split way out to wide right, but the give is to Lewis inside, weaving his way in and out of tacklers. First down yardage and more before Hill takes him down after a 14-yard pickup.
You know, people wonder why you can increase the defense as much as they do. They just get great push with the offensive linemen, and then it's just one-on-one with the linebackers. And I'll tell you, I'll take that running back anytime versus a linebacker in space.
They are elusive. I mean, there is no question about it. There's the snap, back to pass, looking deep down the middle of the field, but overshot the intended receiver, Jermaine Haynes.
You know, the vertical route, you can score some points because of the separation that people like Haynes can give you. We talked about Justin Hemphill, what kind of a mismatch he is. A nightmare, really, for the inside safeties.
2nd and 10, inside handoff, cutting it back and running for first down yardage is Jamal Lewis.
You know, certainly I think that's your bread and butter right here, you know, and I don't really think that Timon had answered for that running game all night long with, you know, the power of that offensive line exhorting itself right now. That'd be a great way to go.
Masters back to pass, looking out to the right to Broadnax, complete, first down yardage, skips away from one tackler, and with a touchdown saving tackle there is Brandon Laurie.
So when you put Broadnax on the field along with Lewis, what do you do with Broadnax? Well, you throw it to him.
5:28 and counting here as the Hawks are now into the red zone. 1st and 10 from the 18. Fumble on the snap. The ball's on the carpet. Masters able to grab it on the recovery. Luke McMahon was not far from that football.
Looked like a running play that just went awry here. Snap was mishandled, and bad things happen when that happens. You're lucky to fall back on it.
So 7-yard loss on the play. 2nd and 17 from the Timon 25. Broadnax wide right with Haynes inside of him. Hemphill on the other side with Latko. Looking down to the right side in the corner, but this pass is going to go out of bounds. So Broadnax can't, or Haynes, excuse me, can't make a play on it.
Yeah, both defensive backs kind of fell on the play, but the ball was thrown so far out of bounds that even if it was caught as it was, it wouldn't be a catch. Sometimes you have to almost have to blame it on the receiver, Chris. You got to give room for the quarterback to drop that tomato down the old chute. And sometimes it happens on that white stripe that's about 3 foot wide. You know, it's got to be in the green part.
So 4:32 left in the game. And Cardinal O'Hara threatening to score again, up 35-8. We remind you, if you're in the Buffalo, Western New York area, be sure to tune in to One Bills Live on WGR 550 AM and on MSG Television Network. John Murphy and Steve Tasker, Monday to Friday, noon to 3 on the air. And Murph and I also do a Monday morning breakdown, which is streamed on the Buffalo Bills Facebook Live page as well as the YouTube Bills channel.
I'm raising my hand, Chris. I listen to you. I listen
And
to you. 12
that's
to 3.
at 10 a.m. every Monday that we do that on. We stream that show live. We're on for about 20 minutes.
Folks,
Give you a breakdown of the Sunday's game and then follow that up with a look around the league.
folks, you got to listen to my partner. He knows what he's talking about.
Here's the snap to Masters. Going to go right back to where he went last time. Broadnax comes down with the football. Did he get a foot down? There's a flag on the play. It's probably going to be PI.
Yep. Face guarding here. The old not looking back to the football, and you got beat. And
It was Corker in coverage. He's given up about 4 inches in height to Broadnax. He was step for step with him.
Personal foul, roughing of the passer, number 52, defense.
That one's going to take precedence.
well, Chris, the game is getting a little bit dicey here, you know, and I know the score is out of whack because there's a big separation in score, but I think the players are
There's a second foul on the play. Pass interference.
probably a lot of
defense,
people are
number
hoping
21.
that the clock kind of exits a little bit quicker here, but got to be careful at this time because, you know, if a player is ejected because of a foul situation, a personal foul, then it penalizes your team for the next game because you're penalized a full football game, and if let's say you're thrown out with 4 minutes left to go in this game, Chris, well, you're going to sacrifice most of next game, and that's not good for you or the team or anybody.
Yeah, no question about that.
Pass interference. Defense has been refused. Personal foul, roughing of the passer will result in an automatic first down. That's been accepted.
So it'll be first, and I believe it's going to be first and goal here. Oh, no, well, right at the 10. So it should be first and goal here at the 10 for Cardinal O'Hara with 4:26 left and up 35-8 on Timon at this point.
Personal foul, roughing of the passer,
not
number
they're gonna mark
52. That results in an automatic first down.
Let me mark it first and 10 at the 12.
You know, Chris, the last game we were at, we talked about how many penalties were exhorted during the game, and Mr. Binkowski has echoed a lot of penalties tonight, too. It seems like there's been a lot of flags thrown all over the place, and it affects the flow of the game, and certainly
No, it
difficult
does,
for
yeah.
people to watch the football game flow, you know, because it just stops, starts, and difficult to get something going here.
Another inside handoff as Lewis gets down to the 10, gain of 2. Bring up 2nd and 8 at the 10. You got to give it up to the Cardinal O'Hara line today. Velasquez, Randall, Murphy, Boyd, and Williams have really reset the line of scrimmage consistently tonight for this Cardinal O'Hara run game.
Yep. Pretty significant push on that offensive line, Chris, for those two great backs they have.
Another handoff, another hole, fighting for extra yardage, dragging a linebacker with him down to the 4-yard line. Just shy of the first down marker, which sits at the 3. So it'll bring up 3rd and 1. But you got to believe it's 2-down territory here anyway for O'Hara.
A little bit of pride for the Tigers. Want to keep them out of the end zone. You know, there's got to be people in there. The seniors, we talked about Connor Dean, the junior Alex Reinhardt. You know, they got to be talking it up in the huddle. Let's keep them out of the end zone. And the Hawks, well, you won't be able to talk those two running backs from getting out of the end zone. They want to put another one on the board.
Fumble on the play. Timon had a chance at it, but they couldn't fall on the football. O'Hara recovers out at the 23.
Yeah, there's a lesson to every lineman out there. If you're seeing a replay of this game, do not try to pick it up. Fall on the football. That's fundamental to recovering the football for your team. Fall on it.
Somebody was smelling an 80-yard fumble return for a touchdown instead of just a fall on it recovery.
On one Buffalo's webcast, they probably would be in the history books here,
Oh,
Chris.
yeah,
But
saving that on the hard drive for sure.
anyway, fall on it.
Pumping it out on social media. So here's Masters on 4th and goal, and he heaves it to the end zone, but little miscommunication with the receiver. It'll be a turnover on downs with 2:13 left in the game. Timon will take over here, see if they can't get a few more points on the board before this one's put to bed. Timon does have 2 timeouts at their disposal as Coach Licata and Mitchell Thiel are going to be running the 2-minute drill here. Odell and Jenkins wide to the right, Blighty to the left. It's a pitch play. Out to Corker, gets the edge, gets about 5.
You know, Chris, Coach Licata mentioned to me that Paul Humphrey and Ryan O'Keefe were out for this football game. Paul Humphrey is a great athlete. He had a concussion, and he's sitting out this game, certainly because of protocol and safety, but he's another athlete that will be coming up the ranks that is a quality football player for the Tigers, and look for him.
Yeah, just a sophomore.
Yeah.
Another run play. It goes for no gain as Corker, who goes 5'5" and 140 against that defensive line, isn't going to be getting a lot of yards after contact. Not with that group in there. And in comes to a loud round of applause, David Motton, the sophomore defensive tackle for O'Hara, 6'4", 350.
Chris, I saw this young man doing the drills. He's a bigger young guy. He was struggling to finish, but you know what? He finished everything he did, and the kids love him. He's got a great sense of humor. They love him, obviously. The crowd loves him.
He is a big fella. And, you know, they've got guys that are going to be moving on after this year. You know, you got Boyd, the senior. They're going to need to fill that role next year. And, you know, Motton comes into camp in shape next year. He's got a starting job waiting for him.
Well, he's got a great start. He's a great team kid, and the kids love him. So, you know, good luck to him. But I'm sure they're looking forward to those following games I mentioned to you before that they're anxious to play coming up.
Thiel on a read option keeper. Lunges forward on 1st and 15. And gets about 6 yards.
Well, all I can say for Coach Licata is that you find out what went wrong and try to correct it. Keep your kids up. And you know what they have in the past? They were 0-9 last year. They haven't won yet this year, but they're still fighting, Chris, you know.
Another pitch to Corker, weaving his way through traffic, almost gets to the first down marker. Pickup of 8 on the play. Brings up 3rd and 1.
You know, the one thing that Coach Licata mentioned to us, Chris, in our conference call, he said the kids are a little ticked off this year because now they're expecting to win. That's a huge shift in terms of thought process for the kids. Last year, they, you know, difficult for Coach. He came on late and they were 0-9. But this year, Chris, they're thinking that, hey, we can do this because they got some belief, and that's key to a football team. Good luck to him.
Flag late behind the play. We'll have to see who this is going to go against. 25 seconds left in the game, and was going to be a 4th and 2 coming up here after Corker could not
Personal
fight
foul.
for the first down.
Offense number 10.
And Trey Jenkins is going to be called for the infraction, as I think he let his emotions get the best of him there.
You know, Coach Dudley throughout the week is proud of his team, and you know, I witnessed practice. They respect him as a player. He's a former UV player that finished
Personal
his career
foul.
at Edinburgh.
Offense number 10. Replay the down.
I think you know too, Chris, that he's a former O'Hara player himself that had a great tradition of winning, and he wants to bring that to his own school. I think that's credible. I think it's great.
Mitchell Thiel sacked on the 3rd and 17 as the pass rush gets through. And that will probably be the last play of the game. 4 seconds, 3, 2, 1. And that will do it. Your final score here from New Era Field, O'Hara 35, Timon 8. As the Hawks improve to 4-2 on the season, while Timon still looking for their first victory of the season. We remind you that our next broadcast will be coming up 2 weeks from tonight on October 19th, when we'll see these same Bishop Timon Tigers take on St. Mary's. Kickoff is set for 7 p.m. Len and I will be with you to bring you the action. So we thank you for listening tonight. Quick update on some stats here. C.J. Masters, 10 for 22, 229 yards, 3 touchdowns and an interception. Jamal Lewis, 93 yards on the ground. And he also had 25 through the air. Brandon Broadnax, 51 on the ground and 85 through the air. And Mitchell Thiel, 27 of 42, 236 yards, a touchdown and an interception. A nice passing effort by him tonight. Jake Blighty with 9 catches, 117 yards and a touch. Sullivan Odell, 13 catches for 93 yards, the standouts on offense there. But a good performance. And we'll see. When we see Timon on the 19th, who knows? They might have one in the win column already and maybe looking for another.
Great to be with you. Great to be with you, Chris, tonight.
Yeah. All right, so Len and I will say so long from New Era Field. We thank you for listening. Once again, the score, O'Hara 35, Timon 8. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Good night, everybody.